Teach's belief in all girls' education being balanced is reflected in the available opportunities and involvement and development.
I'm Agnes Stowicki, Managing Editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private and independent schools to bring you insights into school programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administration. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
My husband had the opportunity to attend independent schools throughout his childhood. So whether that be junior school, middle school, senior school, he had that privilege, whereas I attended public school in a rural community. So given that we were living in urban Winnipeg and obviously had choice, we decided we wanted to pursue the independent school option for our daughter. And with that, obviously, a single sex learning environment. So obviously, in Winnipeg, there really aren't many options in that regard. Balmoral Hall is that option. And we toured the school on a day of an open house, and our daughter wasn't even a year old yet. We were carrying her; she wasn't even walking yet. But it was really just the feeling we felt when we walked through the door. It's hard to describe that, but really, that's all it took for us to, and for it to seal the deal, essentially, for our daughter to attend Balmoral Hall. So we were thankful she was accepted, and yeah, the rest is history. Well, she's graduating this year, and she holds the lifer status at the school. She's had a tremendous experience all throughout. Um, She's, of course, started in the nursery program. I think she was the last year that the official nursery program was offered, and then it's now kind of all blended into a childcare option, which is a full day option. So when she attended the nursery program, it was half day learning for a full week. At a time, but it was half day learning. So, and for us, we could accommodate that type of schedule at the time. So for us, it was just preferred. But certainly grateful that she had that opportunity, given that it was the last year that it was offered. And I mean, for most parents, they require the full day offering. So again, for us, it was just a blessing. She has thrived academically at the school. She's engaged in sport. She's engaged in bell club. She's engaged in choir, a multitude of clubs, the dramatic arts, performing arts. So really just, taken advantage of all of the offerings at the school, and where there's been opportunity for development and involvement, she's taken full reign of it. I would have to say it's the opportunity. Now, granted, this comes a little bit later on. I would have to say that, I mean, they're always researching. I think they present to the class. I can't speak to childcare given that we haven't gone through that stream, but even as early as junior kindergarten, they're researching something and bringing it in to share and talk about. And so I think it's really, it's always been the opportunity to really delve into something of interest and research it and share about it. Grade 5, I guess, would be the first most official and formal major project that you see as a parent beyond, the sharing in class. And the class engages in a project whereby they dictate the topic of research. And I mean, I couldn't have imagined when I was going through school, but the grade decided on environmental biodiversity as their topic, if you can imagine. And they researched it essentially from I think it was January to March type thing, or maybe it was even later, even on into May. But so this is quite an endeavor, but obviously the collaboration that comes out of that, and the learnings, and with that, they had engaged the Prime Minister about rewriting the laws of Confederation. They developed a petition in support of the David Suzuki Foundation, and really sort of, took that to that next level. And then in middle school, as an example, they really look at Canada's heritage a little bit more closely. And, those selected get to represent the school at the Red River Heritage Fair, which is a provincial fair. And so, our daughter chose the constitutional monarchy. Again, not a small subject. So, lots of opportunity to really invest and divest into a subject area. Grade 10 is sort of another threshold year whereby students are really encouraged to pursue an area of their passion that may or may not lead to, a future career choice. So, my daughter's example was the human-animal bond, because she's aspiring to be a veterinarian. So, so there's opportunities along the way. I mean, it's constant. But there's like I said, tremendous opportunity to really hone in on your interests and extend beyond just some of that initial knowledge. Well, I can speak to our experience, and certainly, obviously hearing from fellow parents as well could lend some insight there. But I would have to say, from our experience, it's really the individualized approach to learning that the school takes. And I would have to say that it's Balmoral Hall's trademark, and it begins as early as junior school. They really make every effort to meet the child where they're at. Our daughter has benefited from enrichment opportunities as an example, but obviously for those students that are more challenged in certain subject areas, they meet them where they're at. Absolutely. In middle school, there is what is otherwise more defined streams as it would relate to both math and French. So, students would be identified to partake in what is otherwise considered the advanced stream, I guess, if you will, whereby they're already being challenged and sort of, as they approach, obviously, postgraduate studies upon graduation. It starts as early as middle school in terms of the challenge of the course load to prepare them for that rigor that obviously they're about to embark on later on, again, in their postgraduate studies. I don't think I'm alone in this. While we had identified we wanted the single-sex learning environment for our daughter, perhaps some of our rationale or reasons why we chose a single-sex learning environment um, uh, really maybe perhaps had nothing to do with the methodology behind it. So I think for us, it was to, as time went on at the school and understanding that methodology and really understanding those positive outcomes that comes from an all-girls learning environment, that really came as a surprise. Again, our reasons for choosing were perhaps not as evident in why our reasons were what they were at the time. I mean, when you look at the confidence that comes from an all-girls learning environment, when you look at the academic achievement and the focus thereof that comes with an all-girls learning environment, when you consider the mentorship, we do have probably a more predominantly female represented faculty at the school, and not for any reason. I mean, really just that, when you see that and, and how much the girls appreciate that and the mentorship that comes from that. And Yeah, I would just have to say, I mean, there's numerous benefits. Obviously, the focus on STEM, whereby females are underrepresented. You see that more so in a all-female learning environment. Um, yeah, like I said, there's a multitude, but certainly those are some of the primary reasons. And again, the confidence being one of the biggest ones. Teach's belief in all girls' education being balanced is reflected in the available opportunities and involvement and development. And I had mentioned some of the things that my daughter's been involved in, whether that be debate, sport, performing arts. The balance comes in that the school really goes beyond the academic programming in terms of its offerings to students, and really shows students that obviously it is about being a well-rounded student. And a lot of that comes with that, whether that be timetable management, and really just that more all-around individual. When I think back to that, very large scale project that the students undertook in grade 5, and as that would relate to the values of the school, in terms of students being globally minded, and, acting as citizens with, compassion and integrity, um, that could not have been better depicted in that project work, just in terms of the collaboration. I mean, when you think about, again, them engaging with the prime minister, and obviously, the infamous Canadian David Suzuki, and it really went beyond the bricks and mortar of the school community. It really was a global awareness initiative, and really their care and thought for the environment, beyond just the school project, obviously. The school also engages in more mainstream initiatives. So whether that be, things to address local food insecurities. I mean, so there's that, there is that global mindedness, but on a local level as well. So, we do other initiatives with a neighboring school, whereby students aren't as privileged, in the public system. And, really, what does that mean to be a member of community? Because really, that's at the end of it, that's all that means, right? I mean, or that's all that it is. What is important is community. So, that's another, I guess, area where the school strongly represents its values. When we look at other values, and I've probably already spoken to these, in various ways, but when we look at curiosity, creativity, innovation, when we look at, the programming and the curriculum, and a lot of that becomes inherent. But one thing, that I haven't talked about as it would relate to the lifelong learner, being a value that Balmoral beholds to, is resiliency. And again, perhaps I really haven't honed in on this, but Balmoral Hall really allows girls to learn through trial and error, and dare I say it, but girls are allowed to fail at Balmoral Hall. And really, the importance of that is the lessons that failure holds, and then what the students in turn do with that. But again, lifelong learning is built on those principled foundation of, again, curiosity, creativity, innovation, and resiliency. But again, I think we maybe don't talk about the resiliency piece enough, but certainly it's ever present, and incredibly important. It's how do they get to the end point? Again, the level of collaboration. And in the event that they don't get to the, absolute correct endpoint, what have they learned from that? I don't know if I could give a specific example, but, in a specific subject area. But I think it's just really, it's not that the goal is that they're always right. The goal is that they are allowed to learn from the lessons that failure holds. There's a very strong sense of community at Balmoral Hall. The Parent Association works very hard in terms of their guiding principles of, community engagement. Um, and or friend raising is the terminology that they use. Whether that be through, parent connection, community-based events, that type of thing. But I would have to say, by and large, a very strong sense of community at Balmoral Hall. Obviously, it's always stronger in, junior school, whereby there's obviously much more parent interaction with drop off and pickup and things like that. And obviously the social engagement that happens outside of school as far as birthday parties and whatnot go. And, naturally it just kind of tapers more into middle and senior school. But I would have to say, by and large, yeah, a very strong sense of community. Parents are really invested in the quality of the programming at Balmoral Hall. Obviously, the day-to-day curriculum, understanding the value of their education, their child's education. And really, I would have to say probably at the top of the pyramid is perhaps that every parent is obviously invested in the well-being of all students, not just their own child. So that really, obviously lends to community and the support of the community. The school has a very positive, and this would come from the all-girls environment. They have a very positive experience as it would relate to the leadership programming, and this starts in junior school, more towards the end of junior school. But of course, through middle and senior school, there is the opportunity to lead on student council. So our daughter was actually elected this year to student council, and she serves as the public relations grad prefect. And she's especially enjoyed the leadership opportunity this year. Obviously, getting into quite a busy time with grad approaching in the next few months. But really just having the opportunity to have a hand in creating a memorable experience for the class of 2024, and really just, sharing via communication, predominantly social media, just the happenings throughout the year. And obviously, again, the greater sense of community at the school among the student body and the happenings and so forth. The faculty at Balmoral Hall, really, they're exceptional in their expertise and commitment to inspiring active and compassionate citizens in a broader community. It's truly unparalleled. I think, obviously I've mentioned the big project in grade 5 and, the globally minded citizens component of that. There's definitely a favorite teacher at every age and stage, undeniably. The equitable environment that obviously is created at Balmoral Hall really allows for student voice. The students in turn feel safe and supported, and they ultimately thrive to their fullest potential with the utmost purpose and meaning. They are, in the faculty, staff, and administration, are incredible role models. And I think I, again, had mentioned previously, but the students really see it and believe it, especially in those female role models and mentors. The student or the school's commitment to STEAM, now at Balmoral, so it often referred to as STEM, STEM. Balmoral Hall takes it one step further and incorporates arts into the STEM programming. So we otherwise perhaps may refer to it as STEAM, with the acronyms being STEAM. And really, so it's that they incorporate it through a multidisciplinary approach, again, through the incorporation of arts. And it's embedded all the way through. So throughout junior school, throughout middle school, throughout senior school, you see that crossover. Another reason would be the programming overall. So there is the IB program as it would relate to junior school. There is the AP capstone programming in middle school, which is a bit of a hybrid. And then there's the advanced placement course offerings in high school. As early as grade 9, I believe now, we have a computer science program that has been brand new this year that has been approved. But with that, the intensity of the AP programming, and I mean, again, all throughout from junior school onward, really just supersedes expectations. There's the other programmings that we have in terms of an internship mentorship program that commences in high school, sometimes as early as grade 10. A lot of times, or mostly, it's offered in grade 11 based on timetable scheduling, whereby the school offers community placement offerings. For students to gain experience in certain professions and or acquire certain skills, and or simply be mentored by another individual in the community. There's also the new TIE certificate program, which the acronym expanded stands for Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. Students can actually acquire a digital credential for skill sets that they acquire through their experience at BH. That can obviously be shared digitally. The TIE program ranges from anything. I think we've graduated 9 drone pilots to date, to, more recently, I think it was just set up last week. I think it's race car driving, but again, it's the virtual component of it. So learning about, all the technology behind that. Another area, just, as things evolve and grow at the school as it would relate to, this is just one example, but, our theater and our dramatic arts productions and what that needs to look like, from a backstage perspective. So, if we've got upgrades to sound and visual components to that, we then incorporate the students in the learnings of all of that, as we may maybe perhaps upgrade equipment and whatnot. So that's the TIE program, and really, again, that opportunity to connect with experts in those areas, outside of the school, to be mentored, to really understand sort of that business model behind certain things. It's just kind of endless. We have a maker market that sells things that students make within our programming, our Benedictson Center for Arts and Design. So, anything from an engraved or embossed glass that you would drink out of to, obviously our 3D printing, and the endless capacity that comes with that. So, so much beyond just, a standard curriculum in terms of the available offerings within the programming over and above curriculum at Balmoral Hall. And thirdly, I would have to say the diversity of our school community, and really, in particular, how our student population is represented. All students from various backgrounds can see themselves at Balmoral Hall. And with that, we have 1 in 4 students receiving bursary support at the school. So again, students from all backgrounds, socioeconomic status, we really welcome all. Given that I also serve on the Board of Governors, where we're trying to hone in on, maybe perhaps not being all things to all people, when really we are. So I would definitely have to say that there is something, as a parent and in our experience, there definitely is something truly for every student at Balmoral Hall, no matter their interest or academic pursuits. And I would also reiterate the level of collaboration, the focus on the development of a growth mindset, and as well as the opportunities for experiential learning at Balmoral Hall. All of that contributes to how girls learn best. So obviously, if a parent was in the market for an all girls learning environment, those three sort of things are absolutely key. Again, the level of collaboration, the focus on the development of the growth mindset, and all of the experiential learning opportunities that come with that. And again, that's through every age and stage. We've really taken the opportunity at Balmoral Hall to take learning outdoors, and we do see a lot of that even in as early as childcare, and then beyond that, those offsite experiences that really allow for so much more than the in-class learning, but obviously still exceeding curriculum expectations.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.